Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of business internships.
Okay.
We've got this fascinating interview with a longtime internship advisor, and I think this is going to be really interesting for anyone.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a student,
Mm-hmm.
even if you've been working for years. I think we're going to kind of uncover some of the ways in which internships really work,
Mm-hmm.
the value, the challenges, and also how they're changing the future of work.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert,
Yeah.
it's not just about fetching coffee anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very outdated stereotype, I think.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, what's fascinating to me is that this advisor really gets into the nitty-gritty
Yeah.
of what companies are really looking for.
Okay.
And it's interesting because what they're looking for is often what students lack.
Yeah,
And surprisingly, it's not always about technical skills.
that's so true. One of the things that really jumped out at me from this interview was this emphasis on initiative
Okay.
as a crucial soft skill.
Uh-huh.
And apparently a lot of students, they kind of wait to be told what to do
Oh, interesting.
instead of proactively seeking out ways to contribute.
Yeah.
And it made me wonder, how do you even learn initiative? Is that something you're born with, or is it something you could develop?
That's a great question. And the advisor actually offered some concrete advice about this.
Okay.
They run workshops where students have to identify problems within a company and then pitch solutions
Oh, wow.
without being prompted.
Interesting.
So it's like a crash course in problem solving and taking ownership.
I see. So it sounds like it is something that can be cultivated then?
Yeah, definitely. It seems like it.
Makes sense.
All
It's like learning to ride a bike.
Ah,
At first you need someone to hold on,
right.
but eventually you got to take the handlebars yourself. But what other soft skills did this advisor highlight?
Well, they mentioned communication, teamwork, problem solving. Those are always in demand, right?
Yeah, those are the classics.
The classics.
Yeah.
But the advisor specifically highlighted data analytics as being an increasingly essential skill.
Interesting.
Apparently, companies are expecting interns to be able to gather, analyze, and present data,
Really?
even in non-technical roles.
Wow.
It's no longer a specialized skill. It's becoming a baseline expectation.
That's fascinating. So it's not enough to just be proficient in Excel anymore. You really need to be able to
Right.
tell a story with the data,
Mm-hmm.
to extract insights and make recommendations.
Exactly.
That definitely raises the bar.
It does. And on the topic of raising the bar, the advisor also emphasized the growing importance of sustainability in internships.
Okay.
Apparently, companies are looking for interns who are not only aware of sustainability issues, but can also
Right.
contribute to sustainable practices within the organization.
So things like waste reduction,
Yeah,
energy efficiency, ethical sourcing.
all of that, yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of unpack the advisor's role a little bit more here.
Okay.
It sounds like they're wearing a lot of hats, mentor, coach, even kind of matchmaker, pairing students with the right companies.
Totally. And they actually give some really interesting insights into how they vet companies.
Right.
They mention looking for companies with supportive supervisors,
Right.
a clear work plan for the intern, and this is interesting, a
But that-
culture of feedback.
A culture of feedback. What does that even mean?
Well, the advisor said that they look for companies that provide regular constructive feedback to their interns, not just at the end of the internship.
Oh, I see.
They want companies that see internships as a two-way street,
Yeah,
a chance for both the student and the company to learn and grow.
that makes sense.
But they also mentioned some red flags to watch out for.
Ooh, this is where it gets juicy. What kind of red flags?
Well, one red flag they mentioned was companies that are vague about the internship responsibilities.
Okay.
If a company can't articulate what the intern will be doing
Right.
or what skills they'll develop, that's a sign that the internship might not be well structured.
That's a great point. It's like going on a road trip without a map. You might end up somewhere,
Right.
but it might not be where you wanted to go.
So what other red flags should potential interns be wary of?
They also cautioned against companies that are overly focused on the intern's GPA
Okay.
or academic credentials.
Interesting.
While grades are important, they're not the only indicator of success in an internship.
Right.
The advisor emphasized that companies should be looking for interns who are curious, eager to learn, and willing to take initiative,
Mm-hmm.
even if their GPA isn't perfect.
That's really refreshing to hear. It's a good reminder that internships are about potential, not just past performance.
Exactly.
So it sounds like this advisor is playing a crucial role in making sure that these internships
Yeah,
are valuable experiences for both the students and the companies.
absolutely. They're acting as a bridge between the academic world and the professional world,
Right.
helping to prepare students for the realities of the workplace and helping companies find the next generation of talent.
But it's not just about finding a job.
No,
It's about finding the right fit.
that's right.
And that brings us to the topic of how internship success is actually measured.
Right, because it's not just about getting a good grade on your internship report, is it?
Definitely not. The advisor went beyond just grades,
Yeah.
talking about post-internship hiring rates,
Interesting.
company feedback, and even the student's own perception of their growth.
It sounds like they're really taking a holistic view,
Yeah.
recognizing that success isn't just about checking boxes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about, gaining valuable experience and developing as a professional.
Exactly. And they even talked about,
Yeah.
tracking whether the internship helped students clarify their career goals.
Oh, interesting.
That's something you can't really measure with, a traditional assessment.
Yeah, it's like, did the internship help you figure out what you don't want to do?
Right.
Which is just as valuable as figuring out what you do want to do.
Exactly. It's all part of that self-discovery process.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of soft skills,
Mm-hmm.
how the advisor vets companies,
Right.
and how success is measured. But what about the future? What did the advisor have to say about how internships are evolving?
Well, they see a few key trends emerging.
Okay.
First, internships are becoming more structured
Okay.
with clearer expectations and learning objectives. It's no longer enough to just throw an intern into the deep end and see if they swim.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Companies are investing more in these internships these days,
Mm-hmm.
so they want to make sure they're getting a return on that investment.
Exactly. And second, the advisor sees a growing emphasis on digital skills, which we already touched on.
Yeah.
But they went a step further and said that companies are now looking for interns who not only have those technical skills, but can also apply them creatively and strategically.
So it's not just about knowing how to code. It's about knowing how to use that code to solve real-world problems.
Right. It's about being a problem solver, not just a technician.
Totally. And what about the rise of virtual internships? How is that shaping the landscape?
So the advisor acknowledged that virtual internships are becoming increasingly common, especially in fields like tech and marketing.
Right.
They see it as both an opportunity and a challenge.
An opportunity in the sense that it opens up these internships to students who might not be able to, relocate or, have access to those traditional
Exactly.
in-person opportunities.
And a challenge in the sense that it requires both the students and the companies to be more intentional about communication,
Right.
collaboration, and building relationships remotely.
It's like you can't just swing by someone's desk anymore.
Exactly.
Ask a quick question.
Right.
You have to be more proactive and organized in your communication.
And you also have to be more mindful of different time zones and work styles.
For sure. So it sounds like virtual internships are kind of pushing both students and companies to develop new skills, adapt to new ways of working.
Absolutely.
Right.
And the advisor believes that these skills will be essential in the future of work as remote work becomes more common and global collaboration becomes the norm.
That's a great point. It's like these internships are almost becoming a microcosm of the larger workforce trends.
Exactly. They're a testing ground for the future of work.
Listening to all of this, I can't help but think about my own internship experiences.
Yeah.
And one thing that stands out to me is the importance of having a mentor. Someone who can guide you, support you, help you navigate those challenges of the workplace.
That's such a valuable insight. And the advisor actually talked about the importance of mentorship as well.
Did they?
Yeah, they said that one of the key benefits of a well-structured internship program is that it provides students with access to experienced professionals who can serve as mentors.
It's like having a personal guide through the jungle of the corporate world.
Right.
Someone who can help you identify the poisonous plants and the hidden treasures.
Exactly. Someone who can help you make sense of the chaos and find your footing.
But what if you're not in a formal internship program? How do you even go about finding a mentor?
That's a great question. And it's something that the advisor addressed as well. They encouraged students to be proactive about seeking out mentors, whether it's through networking events, professional organizations, or even just reaching out to people they admire in their field.
So it's about taking initiative, building relationships, putting yourself out there.
Exactly. It's about being your own advocate and seeking out the support you need.
And it's not just about finding the mentor.
Right.
It's about being a good mentee, too.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
about being respectful of your mentor's time, being prepared for meetings,
Right.
and being open to feedback.
It's a two-way street. just like internships themselves.
Exactly.
This interview has given us so much to think about.
Yeah, it really has.
It's clear that internships are more than just a line on a resume.
Mm.
They're a valuable opportunity for growth development and self-discovery.
They're a chance to explore your passions, gain real-world experience, and build a foundation for a fulfilling career.
And they're evolving rapidly, reflecting those larger trends that are shaping the future of work.
Absolutely. So whether you're a student considering an internship or a professional looking to hire interns, it's essential to stay informed about these trends and approach these internships with a strategic mindset.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
The advisor's emphasis on a growth mindset. What exactly do they mean by that?
Well, they were referring to the idea that people with a growth mindset believe that their abilities can be developed through hard work, learning, and persistence.
Okay.
As opposed to a fixed mindset, which is the belief that your talents and abilities are predetermined.
So in the context of an internship, a growth mindset would mean like embracing challenges, seeing mistakes as opportunities for learning and constantly seeking to improve your skills.
Exactly. It's about viewing the internship as a journey of learning and development rather than a test of your existing abilities.
And how does that translate into concrete actions? What does a growth mindset actually look like in that internship setting?
Well, for starters, it means being proactive about seeking out feedback.
Okay.
Both positive and negative. It means asking questions even if they seem silly or basic.
Right.
And it means being willing to step outside your comfort zone and try new things.
It's about embracing the unknown and seeing every experience as an opportunity to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the advisor emphasized that companies are increasingly looking for interns who demonstrate this growth mindset.
Oh, interesting.
Because they know that these are the individuals who will be the most adaptable, resilient, and successful in the long run.
So it's not just about what you know, it's about how you learn.
Right. It's about your attitude, your approach, and your willingness to grow.
You know, this whole conversation reminds me of something I wish I had known before starting my first internship.
Oh, I'm curious to hear what that is.
It's the importance of networking.
Okay.
I was so focused on like doing a good job and impressing my supervisor that I completely neglected to build relationships with other people in the company.
That's a common mistake. And it's something that the advisor emphasized as well.
Really?
They said that networking is essential for interns, not just for finding future jobs, but also for learning from others.
Right.
Gaining different perspectives and building a support system.
It's about creating connections that can benefit you throughout your career.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be formal or intimidating. It can be as simple as grabbing coffee with a colleague.
Right.
Attending a company event or reaching out to someone on LinkedIn.
Just being friendly and, building those authentic relationships.
Exactly.
So for our listeners out there who are, considering an internship, maybe even just starting one, what advice would you give them based on this interview?
I'd say go in with a growth mindset. Be open to learning, be willing to step outside your comfort zone, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
And remember, it's not just about the technical skills that you acquire.
Right.
It's about developing those soft skills that are really going to set you apart in any field.
Communication, teamwork, problem-solving, adaptability. These are the skills that employers are looking for.
And they're skills that you can continue to develop throughout your career.
Absolutely.
This interview has given us so much to think about. It's clear that internships are evolving and becoming even more critical in today's job market.
They're a bridge between education and the professional world, and they're becoming increasingly valuable for both students and companies.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that internships are about more than just getting a job.
Yeah.
It's about finding your place in the world of work.
It's about exploring your passions, developing your skills, and building a foundation for a fulfilling career.
And that's something worth diving deep into.
Indeed it is.
So, knowing what you know now about, the importance of soft skills, the evolving nature of internships, and the power of networking,
right?
What advice would you give to, your younger self?
That's a good question. I think I would tell my younger self to be more curious.
Okay.
To not just accept things at face value, but to dig deeper, Ask more questions and really try to understand the why behind everything.
That's interesting. Because curiosity isn't always seen as a professional strength.
Right.
Sometimes it's even seen as a weakness.
Yeah.
Like you're being nosy or you're challenging authority.
Right. I think that's a total misconception, though.
Okay.
Because curiosity is really the foundation of learning and innovation.
Yeah.
what drives us to explore new ideas and seek out new knowledge and push the boundaries of
Yeah.
what's possible.
So in the context of an internship, then, how can you express that curiosity in a productive way?
Well, it starts with asking thoughtful questions,
Oh, wait.
not just, how do I do this?
Right.
But
Yeah.
why are
Yeah.
you doing this?
I see.
What's the impact of this task? How does this fit into the bigger picture?
So it's about showing that you're engaged, that you're thinking critically
Exactly.
of the work.
And it's also about being open to new experiences and willing to learn from everyone around you,
Yeah.
not just your supervisor.
That's a great point. These internships are really like a unique opportunity to learn from people
Yeah,
at all levels of the organization.
right. And it's also a chance to explore different areas of the business and figure out what really interests you.
You know, this conversation has really highlighted the transformative power of internships.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just about getting a job, it's really about shaping your future.
It's about discovering your potential, honing your skills, and building a career that aligns with your values.
And ultimately, it's about making a meaningful contribution to the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So for all our listeners out there, whether you're a student, a recent grad, or a seasoned professional, remember that the lessons that we've gleaned from this interview, they really apply to all of us.
They do.
It's never too late to embrace the spirit of an internship,
I love that.
to be curious, to be proactive, to be open to new experiences.
And to never stop learning and growing.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me.
It has.
I think we've all gained some really valuable insights into the world of business internships
Yeah,
and how they're shaping the future of work.
absolutely. And hopefully we've inspired some of our listeners to take the plunge and pursue their own internship adventures.
Now, before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I'm all yours.
What's like one unconventional piece of advice you would give to someone starting their first internship? Something that goes beyond, the usual tips about resumes and cover letters.
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to be yourself.
Okay.
Let your personality shine through. Show your enthusiasm and your passion for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Companies are looking for people who are genuine and authentic, not just robots who can follow instructions.
It's easy to feel like you have to fit into a certain mold,
Right.
in a professional setting.
But the truth is, companies are looking for people who bring something unique to the table.
That's right.
So don't be afraid to be yourself and to let your individuality shine through.
On that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of business internships. Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found this conversation insightful and that you'll tune in again for our next deep dive into the world of knowledge and ideas.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.